Hey everyone, welcome to Ink Scribes, the comics podcast where we discuss the art and craft of comics. I'm Colin Singh, an aspiring comics artist, and I'm joined by my co-host Eric Zawadzki, the artist on the critically acclaimed Assorted Crisis Events from Image Comics, the first trade paperback for which is out now, and Taylor Stauft, the creator of Luke Zenith's Wedding Day, featured in the anthology Faster Than Light, Volume 2. I just got my copy the other day, and I gotta tell you guys, Taylor's story is the best one in this motherfucker.
Thanks, man.
So, today, a very special episode where we're going to be taking a look at some very select early works from the best, greatest comic studio in modern comics history, specifically from the 90s. And I'm talking about Gaijin Studios. Okay, Gaijin Studios was a collective of some of the greatest comic artists, most of which are working today. And I'm talking about artists like Brian Stelfreeze, Cully Hamner, Adam Hughes, Tony Harris, Karl Story, Jason Pearson, Joe Phillips. The list goes on and on and on.
So in this episode, we're going to look at three jam books, three comics where the Gaijin Studios crew contributed to the art. And I also have a bunch of other bonus comics to briefly look at that I'll bring out as the episode goes by. But first, an intro. These are going to be the comics we look at. But in the middle book, this Wildstorm Summer Special, there's a profile on the Gaijin Studios crew, and there's their logo. So it says established August 1991, and the founders were Brian Stelfreeze, Karl Story, Joe Phillips. Yeah, it says here how it started. Some interesting stuff. The main takeaway here is this Karl Story quote. He says, "It's a nice place to work because since everybody is so good, you are shamed into doing your best work." So the benefits of artists coming together and working in the same studio together.
Yeah.
Also, in here we have allusions to their reputation. Let's see.
What?
Brian Stelfreeze. "We admit we're not the fastest people on Earth. We're not interested in doing stuff fast, but we're doing stuff good. Everybody is interested in doing the best comics we can, and sometimes that takes a little longer." So the thing about these guys is they're like the best of the best. Technically better than most, but they haven't produced a lot of work. And that's just because they labor over the work, and that's one of the reasons why I like them so much. Is they don't compromise.
I mean, there's the parallel between them and you, right? Like, so Crisis Events isn't going to be putting out 12 issues this year, but the issues that are coming out are fucking on point. And everybody in the audience knows it too. I know you do. You've read this book. It's fucking rad. And these guys, his spiritual godfathers.
Thank you, Taylor. So a brief explanation of their origin. They met as working artists attending conventions. They would hang out in each other's rooms at night during these conventions while doing commissions. And I guess they loved that environment so much that they wanted to make that their everyday working environment. So they banded together. And Colin, what was Gaijin Studios to you as a younger reader?
You know, Eric, you gotta remember back in like grade 10 or 11, well, back in high school anyway, remember the Yahoo group that there was for Gaijin Studios and their message board? Do you remember those days where they actually like posted on the message boards? Like, we've been following them for almost 30 years.
I don't know if I was aware of that message board at the time, but what was your experience with it?
Well, I mean, I was more of a lurker. I've always been a lurker, like on social media, on the internet in general. But I would follow these boards daily almost, and even though they didn't post every day, I would always just for Cully Hamner to just post a message about the status of Red or whatever the case may be. And yeah, like we would, like I would always scour the Yahoo group would always have like these not rare pieces of art, but just like lesser seen, I guess, like original art of black and white art of like pages from X-Men or whatever. And like I would scour the back issue bins for Brian Stelfreeze, for Cully Hamner, for Adam Hughes, like all these different artists that were all coincidentally, or I would say that were tied to Gaijin Studios. Like Gaijin Studios, along with like the Image 7, along with like a lot of the 90s extreme artists, were really formative to my own artistic upbringing. Like these guys I really look up to. And each one of them, I would say, is probably like they've all, no one's had like a 60, 100 plus issue run on any comic, but it's a very select body of work, but at least it's a significant body of work. Like if you take Brian Stelfreeze, for example, he's done a lot of stuff, but at the same time, you could probably fill a short box full of stuff that he's done, maybe 2 short boxes full of stuff that he's done, right? But it's all just gold,
Yeah,
right?
his Ta-Nehisi Coates Black Panther run is still given to people who are like, I want to try out a comic book. What should I try out? Oh,
That's the thing.
you got to go with that one.
Sorry to interrupt though, but that's the thing is like these artists, like their work is like it's the cream of the crop. Like even somebody who doesn't read comics, you give them like a trade paperback of say Cully Hamner's Red. You can easily read that book and just be like, oh god damn, like that was like watching a movie, which is why it was made into a movie, right? Like
A pretty fun one too. Yeah,
guys were they're and at the same time,
I got a sequel too.
yeah.
it doesn't just come down to the sequential, like the actual comics work, but also just the design work and stuff. Like Cully Hamner himself was involved with a lot of costume designs of the New 52 for DC. These guys do a lot of work behind the scenes. They do a lot of box work for toys and statues and stuff like that. So like it, these are artists. Like,
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction, is that
exactly.
they were artists. So yeah, I think in the 90s there were several comic artist studios, with different schools of drawing. Like there's the Extreme Crowd, the Top Cow, Wildstorm, but all of those were studios as well as publishers.
And kind of led
But
top down, right? Like their central artist was kind of influencing everybody.
yes, yeah. Whereas Gaijin Studios was a collective of artists that kind of worked for a lot of those companies. But I think they were the artists of the industry throughout the 90s and the 2000s. Yeah. So I didn't read this NAMOR comic when I was younger. I just discovered it later. We're not going to cover it too much, but it is an interesting artifact, because it is a jam book that is credited with, we have Ron Mars writer, and then artists Gaijin Studios and friends. So it's interesting seeing their very, very early work when they were just starting out. This is before they were legends. So this is interesting because the first page here we have it credited to Adam Hughes and Sandu Florea. We're going to look at a lot of this stuff, and a lot of these great artists are early in their career and rough around the edges. This is not a fair representation of Adam Hughes, though, because yeah, this is. I'm assuming he was very busy and he just did a rough, and then whoever Sandu Florea is, that person finished it, because a more fair representation of Adam Hughes at around the same time would be this Ghost series that he did. Like this is how good he was. So
Make sure to check out our Adam Hughes episode as well.
And we will be covering Ghost in a future episode too, right? For Adam.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess this was a continuation of that. I'm assuming he just did layouts or just roughs. Yeah, pretty interesting. But from here we have I don't know who Joel Thomas is. Part of this is it says Gaijin Studios and Friends in the credits, so
Mm,
it's not necessarily all Gaijin Studios members.
mm.
But next up we have Joe Phillips. I am not too familiar with Joe Phillips. What is your familiarity with Joe Phillips, Colin?
What was that? Fuck, you're putting me on the spot, dude. That one miniseries he did, which was pretty much the first Gaijin Studios work, published work from Gaijin Studios. What was it
Right.
called?
Actually, I have it right here. So, in the mid '90s, Dark Horse started publishing Blank Noir. Blank Noir was the Gaijin Studios sort of imprint that didn't really go anywhere. They printed 4 issues of The Heretic with backup strips by Brian Stelfreeze for his book that never ended up coming out.
Oh
And
man.
then they also printed. It's most Blank Noir is most well known for the Body Bags miniseries 1 to 4. So yeah, Joe Phillips, I guess, like created The Heretic. So this is when he got again this NAMOR stuff very rough around the edges. His work got quite a bit better, which we can see
Yeah.
a bit here. I'm not generally too familiar with his work though. Still fun to see. And then we have James Pearson, which
What?
I don't know why he was credited that way, because interestingly with this annual, this was bagged with a trading card, and it was part of some sort of initiative, I think, where like they every annual that year introduced a new villain, and like these came out within months, which we covered this in a Jason Pearson episode. But
Mm.
right here is credited as Jason Pearson, even though these came out within like 30 days of each other, probably. So I don't know why he's credited with James Pearson.
You know what's weird is James is not part of his name either. It's not like
Yeah.
he put like his middle name or something. His name is Jason Trent Pearson.
Yeah, and actually, in some of his early indie work, I think he was credited with as Trent Pearson or James Pearson. So I don't know. I guess
Hmm.
sometimes in this really early stuff, he credited himself with that.
Yeah, maybe it's his old man's name or something.
No, it's just error. It's just editorial error. It's
Maybe.
human
Well,
error.
but
Possibly.
they gotta pay him, right? They gotta put that name on a check.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they got the name right on the check. I'll tell you that.
Well, corporate Marvel, you never know.
It's also possible that this work was really rushed because he was putting his all into this stuff. Because this annual is just so well done,
It's
just
pretty
so
lush,
impressive.
yeah.
And to be honest, like this NAMOR stuff is not as good. So yeah, who knows?
No, it's 17
It's
guys having fun
ragtag.
with their friends,
It's pretty
right?
ragtag. I'll say that much.
What did you guys
Yeah.
think of this comic overall?
It's fun.
Ragtag.
Yeah, ragtag, but in like that kind of like, you know what? Let's just get this fucking comic out. Like, let's see if all of us can get this done. And they're trying out a lot of stuff. I recently heard something about creative bursts and how you need to really just go hard on different techniques and styles, and that's what this kind of feels like. Is everybody just being like, you know what, I'm gonna try something whether it works or not.
Well, this was also an era like in the 90s where everything was selling, you could say, and they were just pumping it out. And this Namor uh, annual itself has a backup story featuring Iron Fist, which, like, it's not even an Iron Fist book, right? So, like, they were just
Yeah.
kind of like they were just putting it all together. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this stuff was stock stories that they were just kind of throwing into the annuals just to kind of fill them up because there were 64-page annuals, and yeah, like just the events that they were doing across certain lines. There was also like Atlantis attacks
Yeah,
and
like around that time, and like they had like recurring stories show up in all the annuals, so you get like a crossover all year long.
yeah,
But
exactly.
I'm kind of wondering what is the genesis behind this? Like, did Ron Mars know he was doing a jam book? Was this tailor made for the Gaijin Studios guys, or was this just like a situation where these guys at this time were in a new studio? It became known, and they needed like the Marvel editorial needed a book published in like like 30 days, and so get everybody on board. I'm
Well,
not
there's
I
sure.
would be surprised
go
if it
ahead,
was
Dave.
a. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a. I think it's probably like an inventory story, right? Just like here you go. It's got the things people like in it. It's got Apocalypse. I do want to say, actually, what really impressed me about this book is how not 90s it feels. Like there's 90s-ness about it, but this doesn't feel like they're trying to be Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri. You know, they're just really going for their own fucking
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean, there are stories of like editors kind of looking for people who looked like Jim Lee, and there's like Herb Trimpe around that time
Oh,
was
poor
struggling to
Herb.
get work and like modernized his work to look more like Rob Liefeld. So,
Oh,
and this
oh, Herb. No, you created Whirlwind. No.
so this is Dave Johnson, and Dave Johnson I think is like the hands down the best cover artist working in comics today. So it's very interesting looking at this early work. This is really good. Like this is a great splash page,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
love how we have this. These are panels from that Jason Pearson X-Men annual, just statted in there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but here we have like a commonality, I think, with a lot of the Gaijin Studios guys was like they were all really good at lighting. I remember reading some interview where I think it was with Adam Hughes around this time, where I think they just people at the studio just studied bodybuilder magazines, and especially of like
Mhm.
black bodybuilders. You can get that like stark lighting,
Yeah.
Mm,
and that's that's where they learned all this stuff.
Yeah. I know
yeah.
that Adam Hughes has said in interviews, even for doing leather, like on Catwoman's costume, he's looked at photos of black bodybuilders to like really show like the contrast on black bodybuilders. You can't deny it's like it's fantastic. So
Yeah, so you get a lot of this. Which, uh, what do you think are the commonalities with a lot of the Gaijin Studio guys? Like they're not all the same, but there are some commonalities.
Sharp. Uh,
yeah,
Yeah,
nice,
there's a
yeah,
jagged
yeah,
quality to them.
sharp,
yeah.
slick,
Yeah.
chocolatey.
Especially
Um,
the
Lots of double lighting.
shadows. The shadows are quite blocky. Is something that I
yeah.
noticed. And it gives this feeling of these figures are kind of carved out of granite. You know.
Everything's
Yeah,
statuesque,
Yeah, yeah, but not like polished Renaissance stuff, but like they hammered them out, you know?
and everything's composed. Everything's like, especially like Stelfreeze's stuff.
and here's Cully Hamner, which this does not look like the Cully Hamner that I know. So again, it's just very fascinating
Um,
looking at this early stuff. I first discovered Cully Hamner. He did like a 4 or 5 issue Daredevil run right before the Kevin Smith Joe Quesada relaunch,
oh, what a bad
written
time.
by Scott Lobdell. So it's kind of a forgotten but run of comics. But famously, it featured Matt Murdock getting his sight back, which was Kevin Smith's original pitch. And so while he was working on it, that story was going on, and so Kevin Smith nearly quit until he came up with a different idea.
Until he came up with Devil Child. There we go.
Playing off the Catholicism and
Yeah.
with the Matt Murdock story. But other than that, like Colin, you alluded to Cully Hamner on Red earlier, and
That was his. I think that's his all-time career highlight. Is Red, and maybe a second would be Blue Beetle, or maybe The Question. You know, his work in the New 52 DC.
yeah, which we looked at that a little bit in the J.H. Williams episode.
If you take the page on the left, so you can see some like immediate like I don't want to call them
We
patterns.
should say this is Scott Koblish.
Right. So this page, actually, Scott Colbush, he was part of Gaijin, wasn't
No, I think he was part of the and Friends. I mean, just to be clear, we can see the alumni.
Yeah, people kind of come and go, right? Because I've seen like Laura Martin on a list as belonging to this in the past.
Well, I believe she's in the same city, which is like they're in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
So at the time, this was like 2001, 2002 when this was written, and it said current members Cully Hamner, Adam Hughes, George Jeanty, Brian Stelfreeze, Karl Story, and oil painter Steen Walsh. But it has alumni Joe Phillips, Tony Harris, Jason Pearson, Dave Johnson, Rick Mays, and Jason Martin.
Man.
But more ended up joining later on in the 2000s before it eventually, I guess they disbanded the studio. But okay, so here we have Brian Stelfreeze, which this is interesting. Clearly, Brian Stelfreeze colored this image, but Brian Stelfreeze continued, but did not color these ones. But Brian Stelfreeze has just such a, I guess, recognizable color palette and style of coloring.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to look at. I think at this time, so this is 1993, which actually I should bring that up as well. Like they formed in August 1991, so this is like 2 years into the studio being around. At around this time, I think Brian Stelfreeze was the top dog. If I were to guess, I think he did like he just had regular cover gigs. In fact, he did the cover to this. He did like 50 covers of Batman Shadow of the Bat.
Okay.
But it's hard to say who is top dog. Like Adam Hughes was doing pretty well.
I was gonna say Adam Hughes.
Yeah, it was just interesting looking at all that stuff. This is just a curiosity as well. The thing is that these guys are like the best of the best, and so it's fun to look at them starting out when they weren't at the top of their game.
Yeah.
But that brings us to this, where I mean, this is some of these stories are just the art in this series is just jaw dropping.
Now, I know in the past I have expressed ignorance about a lot of the 90s stuff, but for whatever reason, I actually know like this is something I have read multiple times in the past.
1,000 times, bro.
Yeah.
This book was like it was on my desk for like years.
So wait, what's your story, Taylor? Like I know Colin's read it a dozen times, but you started reading comics later than us.
Yeah, and part of what got me into it was the kind of the post 2000s breakout from that kind of typical 90s art, and a big part of that was the Authority, because it was like, oh, there's some care being put into this. There's some thought being put into the figures and the designs. So I just devoured everything that was the Authority, and these show up, and I was like, yeah, this is great. So I think it was part of like the second trade or something like that. The handover between Ellis and.
So you read specifically this Orbital story with
no, and I know the Engineer story was also in there.
Yes.
Isolation, yeah.
Yeah.
By George Jeanty, yeah.
Oh, actually, I'm jumping ahead. I just, as in a quick aside, I just wanted to pull this up. Like, just it has 2 Gaijin Studios members in it, and this is 1992, so this was a year before that last annual. I just quickly want to show off. There's some Brian Stelfreeze art and some Adam Hughes art. So, I mean, it's this entire annual is. I think when we had Michel Fife on the show, he talked about this annual and how the editors would test out artists on these annuals. And this is another jam book, but we have some P. Craig Russell here, but then we have some just amazing Brian Stelfreeze art. Like even in 1992, he was great at what he does. Just great lighting.
And all of these layouts are by Jim Lee. You got to point that out too.
Oh, really? I wasn't.
Yeah. So
Layouts
all
by
the
Jim
layouts were
Lee.
done by Jim Lee, and
Oh,
the first few pages by P. Craig Russell, they're not. I'm just going to say it. They're not his best work. No, not even close. I don't know
I
if this
feel
is
like
deadline work or what, but I was disappointed in this in
I
seeing
think
it.
that might be P. Craig Russell not being allowed to do his own layouts.
yeah, that
Possibly.
could very well be it.
Just because there's such a, I don't know, it's like trying, to me, it would be like the same as getting, I don't know, Jorge Jimenez to do layouts and then get Mike Mignola to do like whatever's inside those panels. Like those two guys are not the same at all, right?
And
Like it's,
layouts are such an important part of the
yeah,
project.
right. It's how you
Well,
tell the story.
I,
It's how
w-
you're
I would not. I
everything.
would not peg P. Craig Russell as an action superhero artist. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
this is not his forte. At least he hasn't shown it to be.
Yeah, it is interesting seeing him do stuff like this.
Yeah.
But at any rate, what did you guys think of the Stelfreeze stuff?
The stealth. Oh, come on, man. Stelfreeze is A grade. It's
It
A
is
grade.
interesting. Like he was always great. Like
Yeah.
I need to go find some early stuff where he would actually. I've been meaning to look for his very first stuff is Psychops. I need to find some of those. But,
Yeah.
oh man, like I'll just say that like in the early 2000s, I was obsessed with Brian Stelfreeze. I wanted to own every one of his comics because for me it was in particular, which we'll get into more detail, but I think he was one of the best action illustrators in comics, and so I wanted to kind of like study that. But also we have Adam Hughes, which so we described the Gaijin Studios stuff as a lot of the artists looked very jagged, um, very angular, but Adam Hughes isn't. He's got a softer
Yes.
quality,
Oh
but he
yeah.
does still have that lighting that we talked about, the sort of double lighting, the expert use of lighting on the human form. Yeah,
And
this
it's
work is
usually
just so
from the
good.
top down, right? It's usually
Yeah.
lighting.
Yeah. He's usually got like a rim light going, and it's very
Yeah,
well observed lighting
yeah,
in situations that are not at all real. Like Beast does not exist. A man is not that hairy, but he does really convey the musculature under the hair, under the fur, without it being just, kind of jagged edges with typical 90s musculature underneath. Like he's giving he's softening it. He's uh, expressing it correctly.
Yeah, what I think so with Beast specifically, like what he's done is obviously he's referenced bodybuilder photos, and in this case, like some sort of I don't know acrobatic photo. He must have like he's heavily photo referenced, but he's exaggerated his legs. He's given
Mm.
him legs that I wish I had. His feet are effeminate, right? So yeah, I don't know if he like just kind of blew it up or he just kind of added an extra inch to especially around like his hamstrings and his feet. Like, but yeah, like that photo there, or excuse me, that panel there, the bottom left corner. Um, like I can see like just a normal well built man making that leap, but not with legs like that.
And remember, if you want to become a better built man, our man Colin can help you out. Contact him for a
Yeah,
free consultation.
first
He'll build
consultation
your
free.
body. Yep.
Yeah.
no doubt. So back to the Wildstorm Summer Special. So Colin, you read this like 1,000 times. You said.
Dude, this book. Okay, we're gonna start with Cully Hamner's story with Jack Hawksmoor. So this story is there's captions to the left and then panels to the right. So it's
Yeah,
not a
it's almost half the
normally
page.
I don't
yeah,
think I'd seen anything like this to this point, and really not much like it since.
but at the same time, so this is my my theory. We'll never know unless we actually talk to the editor who would put this book together. But I think they took Gaijin Studios, like the artist from Gaijin Studios. Who was it that edited it? John Layman. John Layman's, pretty well known in comics, and he's done Chew and all that kind of stuff. Was it John Layman that did Chew?
I believe
Yep.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, we got Cully Hamner, we got George Jeanty, we got Brian Stelfreeze, and the writers that they're working with. I'll get into Brian Azzarello in a second, but Warren Ellis, he's like, just let this guy just do what he's going to do. So he's like, I'm just going to throw some captions down and I'll let Hamner do whatever he wants. And these panels are fully realized. They're the most, like panel 1 right there on the left. He's in free fall.
Well, yeah.
He's in free
Yeah.
fall.
That second panel lives in my mind rent free for
Exactly.
the past 20
This
years.
whole book lives in my mind. I think about this book all the time.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, because it captures the feel of Jack Hawksmoor so well. He's Homo Urbanus. He's made to live in cities. He's got the treads on his feet. He's got that sick
And
design.
by the end of the story, what is he doing? He's doing the same thing he was doing at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
It's just an artist showcase, it feels like.
Flashback
Right.
panels here and there, but otherwise, overall, it's him going all across the world. Just exercising his power in the most beautiful way possible. These backflips that he's doing, these free falls and all this kind of stuff, like him with his hands behind his head like this, and he's just so confident as he's falling into the ground. Right?
You know what it is? It's the ultimate. It's like the highest iteration of the urban hero, like Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man still needs the webs and stuff, and it's a great visual for travel. But when you take it up that notch of like from neighborhood to global, it's like he can dive off shit and he can dive through portals that takes him to a new one. Like there's no end to this super science that allows him to just take this to the next level. And Cully Hamner fucking delivers when it comes to the feeling of just sailing through cities.
I'm going to front load it. I'm going to say, like, of all these three specific stories, I think most would say that Brian Stelfreeze's Zealot story is the best one of the bunch, but I would say no. It's Cully Hamner's Jack Hawksmoor story. 100%.
I mean, I don't know what most would say, but
subjective or objectively, you would probably lean towards Brian Stelfreeze's Zealot story, I think.
Well, I mean, it is interesting that this seems like a bit of a Stelfreeze showcase because he colors all the stories. Like he has Stelfreeze has his hands on like all 3 of these stories.
He hits it out of the park. Then I know he can color. I don't really think of him as a colorist, but
and he always tends to color him like he paints his own covers. He started off as a painter, right? So I think he was known in the studio as the guy who understood color theory the best. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he was kind of the teacher among them all. Like he just because he knew painting, he just knew art inside and out. It feels like.
Well, okay, so here's another thing I was going to bring up at this point: the time zones. So his palette related to the time zone.
Yeah.
So it's like dusk in New York. Okay. And it's not a dark blue, it's not a light blue, it's like a mid blue, right? And with a hint of purple on the glass, you see that but that purple is also very muted purple. And then he changes time zones to LA, and so LA is 3 hours behind, so the sun's still out, but it's going down, and
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting worked up, but the yellow to the orange is just like
it kind of smacks you, right? It smacks you in the face.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
it's
from
beautiful.
there they go to Japan. He goes to Japan where it's just it's the middle of the night in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got greens and blues.
And he shocks you with that flashback right there with the red, and that
Yeah.
red is the same palette that Laura Martin used in the Authority story, where they got attacked by God. I think
Oh
it was
yeah, yeah.
issue 12.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what it's flashing back to, right?
yeah, that's what it's flashing back to. So he's using that exact same palette. So he's mirroring that, which
Well,
is
but I think it was very intentionally supposed to be different. Like as a flashback, it's supposed to signify different from everything else. Like everything
right.
else seems very naturalistic, whereas this is supposed to signify, oh, this is different. This is clearly flashback.
Yeah, yeah, and then he goes to so after that he heads to what country is he in towards the end?
He's in the
Um,
UK, I think.
It's,
yeah. Yeah, he goes to London.
right. So again, he's playing with the time zones. He's playing with the palettes again. So it comes back to like an orange, purpley hue, and then back to a blue, like with dawn when sun's coming up. Back in New York,
And then back to New
and
York.
you can tell like this New York compared to like what 5 or 6 pages ago. It's lightened up just the sun's
Yeah.
about to come up. Like how? Like come on, come.
Okay, just as a brief aside, uh, Stelfreeze did color himself. So on this was a Matador, a 6-issue series, and he, penciled, inked, and colored it. And
Dang.
so, um, yeah, I remember when this came out. I was very young, and I was just so impressed at the idea of an artist being able to do it all. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually everything's just so
15,
segmented, right?
16, this came out. Yeah.
And yeah, this was like what 2006 or something. But yeah, we should definitely cover this because this is a great comic. And yeah, I was a huge Stelfreeze fan when this came out. Like this is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
But
It's,
um, but
it's
yeah, back to this. Something I wanted to comment on is like the buildings. They're not just generic boxes with square windows.
No.
Like
no.
everything is a unique, complex building where you have various parts like cut out. You have different shapes and sizes, and I think this is what you get from a Gaijin Studios artist. You get like meticulously researched and drawn backgrounds.
Now, let me ask you this though. The curve on the Empire State Building.
Oh man, crazy, right?
Right, yeah. Like, but I don't know. Do you think he did that because that's the reference that he has, or to give it that feeling of like he's high up. He is at the top of the Empire or the Chrysler Building. Sorry, that's the Chrysler
Oh,
Building.
you get the curvature of the Earth in there, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah, you do.
Well, further
I
to
kicked him
that,
so hard he saw the curve of the Earth.
you get thrown into Photoshop and just thrown a curve on it. Right.
Oof.
Hmm.
You
I
can,
don't
but
know.
it's oof. I
That
have
would
played
warp
around
the
with
line
that.
work, I think.
Yeah, it gets weird.
But yeah, I'm not
But
sure.
whatever he did, like it totally works for this instance of
And
this tiny little figure sailing through the air.
and I do think in the early 2000s, a lot of them in the studio were starting to use 3D software for backgrounds. Like, as just one example.
Sound off on the comments if you think that was the thing that he was using, or if he just kind of like free-handed it. I know some of our listeners have information about 3D software from the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, so this was Global Frequency by Jason Pearson, and I do know he was using 3D backgrounds for a
Okay.
lot of this stuff, just as an aid. And I know Brian Stelfreeze was using 3D backgrounds for his Black Panther work, but I'm not sure if 3D software was used for this, but that would explain the complexity of the curvature. But I
Okay.
mean, I don't see a lot of evidence of 3D software being used. This looks like,
More photographic.
I mean, clearly referenced, but
Yeah.
Referenced,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Like
I can't say for certain. It'd be
if I
interesting
found
to
out
ask him.
that the opening shot of the city, like those are the actual buildings around the Chrysler building, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, before we move on to the next story, my last thing that I want to say about this story, if you go to page one, so the story is Jack Hawksmoor. He says he starts the story by saying, "I'm Jack Hawksmoor when I'm not running the only planetary defense." Blah blah blah. You can see that he's stretching his quad there, just as a runner would before he goes on a run.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or he's stretching, right? That's the splash page. It's like someone just kind of like doing this with their shoulders before they start punching holes through walls, or whatever the case may be. But he starts with that, and then he ends the very last panel. The caption is "I run."
Yeah,
Right?
he's the free runner. He's the it's parkour
He's
in
the
which
god of
is
cities.
yeah, which is difficult to convey. I personally like I know there was kind of a glut of it visually for a bit. But I think when parkour and free running are done well, they look cool as shit. And this might be the only time I've seen it captured in a comic well.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of little subtle details like sprinkled all throughout. Like, I mean, we could go panel by panel, but if we wanted, but we're not going to. But like, I just like the little details of like him affecting the birds. The birds are
Mm-hmm.
relaxed, and as he comes upon them, they scatter upwards, and then some of them even go into the portal, and then you can see a bit of them coming out there. And like, there's so many great little details all throughout this short. And again, like this is like you hire a Gaijin Studios artist, you get this quality. And that's just what I associated with them around this time.
I love the way that the lamppost bends and
Yeah.
buckles. It doesn't because it doesn't just crush, right? It's like the force of him causes the middle to go down, but the end to go up, and that the energy to break the glass. It's
mm,
it's a very it's one of those things that like oh yeah
The
you don't
buckle.
think about like where energy goes unless you see it. It's like archers will say you never dry fire a bow because that energy's got to go somewhere
mm.
and it goes back into itself, right? And it's the same thing of just like he's the energy he has coming in. Again, I'm starting to use this term a lot, but very well realized when something
Yeah.
like that shows up.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it comes down to is just like so much thought and care put into
Hmm.
these pages. Like, every face.
I should
Just
start doing that, putting thought and
putting
care.
thought and care into. I mean, well,
Well,
yeah. Why didn't you think of that sooner, Taylor?
I don't know. It seems obvious now, but at the
well, also,
time,
so I'm also gonna go back to my note about the first page being a splash page with he's stretching, Jack Hawksmoor stretching. So every story, there's three stories in this one. Each one starts with a splash page, and the splash page lends itself to the theme of the story. So in Jack Hawksmoor's case, he's going for a run, so he's stretching before his run. Engineer story, Isolation, written by Paul Jenkins. It's her in a very seductive kind of pose, and she's just horny through this whole story. She just wants to get laid. So that's a posture that a woman would take when she's trying to seduce somebody, right? And then going forward into the next story, which is Zealot by Stelfreeze and Brian Azzarello. It's her in disguise, not in disguise, but she's keeping to herself, but she's at the same time very guarded, right? And in
mhm.
this story, she's in disguise or she's incognito, but she's also very formidable at the same time. Um, Also, I mean, the third story, not to jump ahead, but we'll get into it later. But Brian Azzarello does very light lifting for that story.
Yeah, we'll get to it there.
He
For now, we've got
wrote a haiku, and then that's it. It's all down to Stelfreeze, right? He wrote 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, and then he's like, "Okay, here you go, Brian. Do what you want."
So
That's my theory.
before we get to that, we have George Jeanty. I'm not super familiar with his work, but I mean, it's still very impressive stuff, right?
He's
Yeah, I know him
great.
from the so in the mid 2010s there was Dark Horse got the Buffy the Vampire Slayer license,
Yeah,
and they did Buffy season 8. So Joss
yeah,
Whedon and
bro.
some of the writers were continuing on the story, and George Jeanty was selected to
Right.
take
Yeah.
over, and his
Very lucrative. Very
big
lucrative
thing
revenue.
was that he really captured the likenesses of the actors without being a slave to photo
Yeah. He was
reference.
still able
And
to
he
keep
gave
his
the story
style.
a lot of life.
Yeah,
He gave the
It's not
figures a lot
easy.
of life. Yeah.
yeah,
And you can
Yeah,
see it here.
I do distinctly remember him capturing that Sarah Michelle Gellar likeness
yeah.
very well. She's got that very specific nose.
He
Yeah, he
simplified
did a very good job with that stuff.
simplified it.
Yeah, simplified it and kept the energy, right? It wasn't like ripped from screenshots. It was just like, yeah, I know what Sarah Michelle Gellar looks like, so I'll just
And
draw
that's
her.
key, right? Like you got the impression that he wasn't, that he learned the likeness and adapted it to his style, which is so difficult. I was always impressed when Stuart Immonen did that in Star Wars. Like
Yes.
he has Star Wars run, and it was just so impressive how he
One of
captured that
the
likeness without making
absolute
it look
best. Yeah.
stiff or copied, and
Yeah,
still within his style.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
We should do him and that Star Wars run.
Yeah,
Well, and a bunch of stuff by him,
Brian
but
Hitch on the Ultimates too.
yep.
He didn't he kind of gravitated away from photo reference. He's like, I could just draw them out of my brain.
Yeah,
So
because he cast that, right? Like
yeah.
he was like, nope, Brad Pitt is my Captain America.
I will say that I mean this. I think George Jeanty was the new guy at the time, and so
No, you
he
can
hadn't fully come into his own because I don't see the George Jeanty uh, from those Buffy comics, and we're gonna look at this in the future, and like this is more the George Jeanty that I know
yeah,
in that story. But it's so impressive. Like, look at this crowd shot, just like really going for it, and
yeah.
that like speaks to that Karl Story quote that I brought up, where you're in a studio with all these legends, and you're just kind of shamed into doing your best work. And I should say that's Brian Stelfreeze right there, and
Okay.
I believe that's Adam Hughes. And this has got to be somebody. Maybe it's Karl Story, but I don't
Oh,
know.
I thought it was gonna be there's because you see the cartoon that they draw of themselves later
Right.
on.
Yeah, who had the goatee?
Yeah. Uh
Oh, okay. Actually, that's Karl.
Cully Hamner. It might be Cully Hamner.
I don't think that's no. I know what Kelly Hamner looks like. That's not Kelly Hamner.
Maybe it's not anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody in the comments knows that would be great.
Yeah, let us know.
This story does feel very organic, though, right? The art style. I mean, like it's not heavily photo reference, and it's not so run of the mill. You know, it
And
still
it's
Yeah,
has
not
its own identity.
it's not a slave to the Hitch stuff either. Like he's clearly adapting his version of those characters, but I don't know. It's not too like the Mask of Midnighter. It's not. It doesn't have all of the seams and the stitching that Hitch would put on it.
yeah, man, great cartooning there.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. But yeah, I believe actually in the back here, what does it say something about him being the new guy? Yeah, it says on being the new kid on the block. So George Jeanty says it's one of these times when you don't mind being low man on the totem pole because everybody else is so good. There's nowhere to go but up. So yeah, he was the new guy, the new kid on the block. But yeah, now we have this Brian Stelfreeze story, which I personally think this is a showcase for inker Karl Story.
I
So
was
he
gonna
was like a
say,
resident inker in the studio, and he employs two different inking styles. So, which like yeah, what did you guys think of that?
So, okay, well, I said before that most people would say that the Stelfreeze story, this story is the best illustrated. Look at the simplicity of it. Look at how much he can convey without saying very much at all, right? Especially
it's
in
very
panel
cool.
one,
Yeah.
right? The Cully Hamner story is just firing on all cylinders. It's like a Michael Bay movie almost. Like there's the lighting, the choreography, the cinematography, blah 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 blah. Here it's more Kurosawa. It's a
Yeah, it's
very
contemplative.
like it's very simply composed shot,
Yeah.
and it's black and white. Like you have to work harder when you know that you don't have color to it.
Yeah. Oh well, and also like it's sparing with the detail, and like to get the clothing correct, you can throw a whole bunch of lines on there and just hide that you didn't actually know how the clothing fell. And so the restraint is what's impressive with the black and white and with the economy of line and the careful use of detail.
Now, with the bottom right panel, actually, if you go back one page, Eric, the bottom right panel there, so you see those four figures behind her. They're each an individual character, and I would not be surprised if you referenced, a Kurosawa movie for these characters. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they were all movie buffs, which most artists are.
Yes. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I believe they talked about movies a lot, and that's what bonded them. Like, especially talking about, I think, like John Woo action films and stuff. So, I think they were all steeped in Asian cinema. So, yeah, you might be onto something there.
Mm.
Every artist should be watching Kurosawa movies. That's for goddamn sure. The way that man composes a shot, holy fuck.
And it's just good to watch black and white work
Yep.
because as an artist, we oftentimes work in black and white, and so you can observe so much. But yes, you're right. The shot compositions are like expert level, just
Mm-hmm.
so impressive. A lot to learn from Kurosawa movies.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Karl Story inks, like I'm guessing he was going for a like Japanese calligraphy
It
look.
does feel like that. Yeah, like long handle, kind of loose wrist technique.
And yeah, and just the there's the artifacts of the brush showing
Yeah.
up, as opposed to the like it, so this story like flashes back between modern day and ancient Japan or whatever, and so you get the two different inking styles back and forth. You get the more modern inking, and then you get the I don't know, calligraphic look.
Yeah.
Calligraphic, is that a word?
Yeah, I think so.
Calligraphic or blotted. Yeah, I get what
Yeah.
you.
So Karl Story, no slouch himself.
I do want to point out too the great use of choreography here. If you
Oh
could
yeah,
go back one, I think. No, two. Yeah. So on the right hand page, Zealot is pulling the belt of her trench coat,
yeah.
and in the on the next page, she will have it out. If you flip, she'll
Yes.
have it.
Pulling it up a bit there.
Yeah, she'll have it in the
Yeah.
that panel and then be able to use it. Yeah. Like that's really well thought out in terms of how am I going to break this down time-wise, right? Like you can't have it just be well, I'm pulling it and then I have it. You have to show the in-betweens.
And it's just so subtle. It's the kind of
Yeah.
thing that you could probably not notice on the first read. But
Mhm.
this is what I always associated when I was younger. And what I loved about his stuff was that he, the action choreography was like the best in all of comics, and just so labored over and so well thought out.
Not only that, though, it's also so, especially in a black and white story, what I would kind of take into account is not how fast you can read it, but just the fact that your eye can kind of just slowly float down the page. Like you can't time it, but like for example, as soon as she starts taking like her coat off and kicking the guy, and then going, like dispatching the other guy and so on and so forth, it's like you're not following all that per se. You're just more like taking it in, taking it in, taking
Yeah.
it in, and just your eye floats down the page. And you want to take it in because you like, this is something different. This is something special. This is something like I haven't seen before.
I
Or
mean,
I don't.
this right here feels like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm reading art.
Yeah. Well, like Lone Wolf and Cub as well. I would liken this to
Yeah.
Lone Wolf and Cub. There's a lot of scenes in Lone Wolf and Cub where like you are at the edge of your seat. Is he gonna like? Is this guy? Is he gonna get found out, or is he gonna like die, or is he gonna get injured? And like, it's a very tense moments, and like, you'll stop at moments, but as soon as you turn the page, something very dramatic happens, and you just, as soon as it happens, you still pause on that image for a moment before you move on to the next page. And the next page is like, there's a natural eye floating thing where like, I don't know, it's like a drone camera just kind of like taking in a shot and then kind of moving on and taking, it's
Yeah.
so.
So, as I said before, like when you hire a Gaijin Studios artist, you get these fully realized backgrounds. Like that just, that's what you're going to get. And so I love just how impressive the city shots look and just how much work he's put into them. Like these are not buildings with just like boxes for windows. These are like fully realized structures, complex structures. So
One final thought about the Zealot story is if you go back to page 1, there's 2 long panels of one is the flashback, and the second panel is present day. Sorry, page 2, and the haiku that Azarella wrote. I don't know how much he got paid for it, but it says, "Memory play, a window casting shadows, flickering to be." Which if you actually take it into account as you read the story, it's like Zealot is remembering this exact happenstance 100 or 1,000 years ago, right? She's getting mugged. She was
Yeah.
getting mugged in ancient Japan, and she's getting mugged now. And she's like, it's the same 5 guys, it's the same play, give us your stuff. And one guy pulls out a knife, and one guy does this and that. And the same choreography happens. That's why this story works so beautifully, is because it's like, it doesn't matter what era it's in. People are going to be people, and this is the same thing that's going to happen, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
it's memories flickering to be.
Yeah. That's
beautiful.
That's a great way to break it down.
Beautiful. It's the best paycheck Azrael ever got. The easiest paycheck he ever got. I love Brian Azrael. Just he's.
I'm a big fan myself.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I do have to say it's very impressive to have a figure that is like pretty much fully blacked out.
Yes.
Not easy to pull off. Oh, man, I love the line of action in that one. But
yeah, that kick.
Yeah, his mastery of anatomy and of silhouettes and of form, he's able to pull off just like pretty much a fully black outfit, and to have it still be readable.
Yeah, because it flattens so much.
Yeah, and the jacket helps too, but to block it all out. But
things like feet can get real weird if you don't have contouring, right?
Yeah. So, as we alluded to earlier, this is a picture of the Gaijin Studios guys. So we got Brian Stelfreeze and like this. So this is a bigger one. We got Brian Stelfreeze and Adam Hughes, and I guess that's George Jeanty, is it? And then Karl Story, and who am I missing? Yeah, that's all of them. Okay.
Cully Hamner, yeah.
Oh, Cully Hamner, right. So Cully Hamner right there. And this was drawn by friend of Gaijin Studios, Chris Sprouse.
And what I'm assuming is either Caitlin Fairchild and Roxy Spalding cosplayers or the actual characters.
Yeah,
Well,
and that would be Grunge and Burnout and who's the last character?
Rainmaker?
Rainmaker. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Rain
there
Man.
she
and
is.
then
Yeah,
who's this?
yeah.
Comic
That's
book guy.
that's the comic book guy.
That's
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
yeah,
comic book.
Simpsons comic book guy. Yeah, which is pretty cool. And yeah, we got a Jason Pearson. So this is from Jason Pearson's like skinny ankle cartoony era,
Oh yeah, yeah.
The best
and
era.
the best era. Not my favorite, which
My
Check out
I will
our
get at
Jason
in
Pearson
the
episode and let us know which is his best era.
yeah. We did an episode where we discussed the three styles. That's interesting. That's your favorite era.
Yeah, I like that era the most.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, on that, let's move on to the final one, which is the ride, because there is a Jason Pearson story in this, but I believe this is when I fell madly in love with the idea of the Gaijin Studios guys. Because I mean, this is kind of a ridiculous comic, but it's sort of built to
Boy,
be
is
like an action comic for the Gaijin Studios guys. It's just sort of like honestly, I when I was a teenager, I loved John Woo Hong Kong action films, and I thought they were the greatest thing ever. And then I come to them as an adult, and uh, there's something a teenager would find to be genius, and
their propaganda aimed at a teenager's head. Yeah.
but I mean, it's less even the propaganda stuff and just how thin the story is. It's
You
just
don't
like
have that much time to read
ludicrous
those.
the plot points are, and so
Ridiculous.
it's just ridiculous. And I mean, they're built to be action stories, and they kind of fall apart if you analyze them too much. And I think similarly to this, you look at this as like, don't put too much thought into it, because this story is kind of ludicrous. It's just a framework to create an action comic.
That's a good point, though, about Hong Kong action movies, because it does still follow, like, you know what, we're going to still have a theme for these, for people to grab onto. Like, the theme is friendship. The
Yeah.
theme is mentorship. It doesn't say a lot about it, but much in the way that, you know, The Killer, or dang, what's another John Woo movie? I
Hard
saw them.
boiled.
There you go, Hard Boiled. Yeah, it's just like, well, there's something. It's not just meaningless action; it's meaningful action. There's something driving this. As ridiculous as it is, there's still something driving this. As I'm going to echo what I said about Kurosawa, do yourself a favor and check out John Woo movies too. The guy knows how to frame scenes. A lot of people think of like the doves flying out during Mission Impossible 2, but I think when you see them in context, it makes a lot more fucking sense in a Hong Kong version.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So Adam Hughes cover, can't go wrong with that.
No,
But so the story behind the ride is I think Kevin Gardner. Here we go. It's written by Doug Wagner, but it says the ride concept by Kevin Gardner. And I think Kevin Gardner was a retailer who wanted to get into making comics. If I'm not 100% on those details, but I think he acted as a sort of producer. And I believe he and Doug Wagner pitched the Gaijin Studios guys, who they hung out with occasionally, and the end result was this comic.
he was the direct sales manager at Valiant Comics.
Right, and then I think he might have moved into comics retail after that, but I'm not 100%
Yeah, a chain
on
of them.
that.
Yeah, yeah, a chain of them.
So I think the Gaijin Studios guys sort of I think they loved working with these guys because I guess these guys understood what they wanted to draw, like they wanted to draw like action film stuff, and I like we were talking about the John Woo action films, and I think the Gaijin Studios guys actually bonded early on over their love of that stuff. Which, if we go to like a decade prior to that, Jason Pearson did this the Dragon Blood and Guts comic, and there's a bartender here. that has a hard-boiled shirt. And what do they call him? Mr. Wu? John? And yeah, that's I guess that's supposed to be John Woo. So
Oh, and getting the fin right and everything.
so so yeah. Oh, what did you guys think of this comic as an action comic? I guess.
Outrageous.
When I heard it was coming out, I was salivating over it. I couldn't wait. And when it came out, it didn't disappoint. It gave me exactly what I wanted, and I think it's exactly what they wanted to draw. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's a tight action,
cars,
heavy.
babes, and guns.
Yep, thriller. It's not trying to be anything other than what it is.
And I should say, like, this comic, The Ride, is like a regular anthology comic, and the idea is like come up with a story that features a 1968 Camaro, and so there will be like
Same car in all the comics.
there will be later The Ride comics, and just as long as there's that Camaro, that's like the only through line.
Trust me, I know a lot of car guys. That'll draw a lot of car guys to buy it.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So this first one's by Cully Hamner, and the second one in this issue is by Brian Stelfreeze. And right away we get like realistic guns, which this came out in the 2000s, but there was like a decade in the 90s where nobody wanted to draw realistic guns. They just wanted to draw like big, Rob Liefeld type wacky, like crazy sci-fi guns. And so
Guns
to
the size
see
of a
something like
ballpoint.
this is impressive at this time.
Yeah. And that it's actually shown to fire correctly, that the slide is going back. Again, the energy distribution, like that energy is going somewhere and something has to happen. It's not a revolver.
Yeah, I just remember being very impressed by this because I think you didn't see a lot of this in like your average Image comic or your average Marvel or DC comic at the time.
This is around the time, though, that I start associating this sort of style, this kind of more graphic style, with kind of the rise in popularity of indie comics as well. And by indie, I mean not Marvel, DC, or the Image founders, but like anybody else who got a book at Image.
Yeah, I mean, Image is still indie.
Yeah,
you don't have a big corporation backing you.
That's true, yeah. But I don't know. To my mind, Todd McFarlane and the Ace team. I wish there wasn't a difference, but there is in terms of corporate.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like the individual studios are a little bit different, but like this is definitely an indie comic.
Yeah.
So I will say that like this checkmarks certain aesthetic boxes that I'm all about, which is like organic, imperfect line work for the backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at this stuff up close, like clearly he did use a ruler for the underdrawing, but for the inking, he just went freehand, kind of like loosely tracing over that underdrawing, and it's an aesthetic I'm all about. Not that there's anything wrong with like using a ruler for stuff like that, but that's just what I'm all about, and it's a way of like retaining that energy that sometimes gets lost when you move from pencils to inks.
Yeah. Also, like the reference for cars. So it's a Chevy Malibu that they're driving as a police vehicle, and the Chevy Malibu is a common police cruiser. I don't know if Chevy has a deal with various police departments or whatever the case may be, but the Malibu is a common police cruiser, even as a civilian vehicle, and that's what they're using for the first, what is it, 6 or 7 pages before they transfer to the other car.
Yeah, not an easy car to draw with those curves.
No, it's not. But it's very generic. At the same time, it's generic, but you're trying to capture that it
serves as a contrast.
Yes,
because when the 1968 Camaro comes, that's that's a big wow moment, right?
Yeah, it is distinctive.
But yeah, so from here we get Brian Stelfreeze, which again, like we get a brilliantly choreographed action scene and ludicrous, but
this is crazy. This is Tarantino-esque.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
In its like cartoonishness. Yeah, like just anything from like how short her skirt is to the size of the gun in her tiny hand. Like it's all just it makes me think of Beatrix versus the Crazy 88 uh,
Right.
in Kill Bill Volume 1. Just like this is a cartoon, and that's kind of
Well,
feels what is being channeled here.
and I don't want. So what I'm going to say, I don't want it to speak to the absurdity of it, but she shoots the driver and the driver of the bus, and
Yeah.
the whole bus tips as soon as
Yeah.
Yeah, because he dies and then goes.
Which
He
would
does.
happen in an action
lend
film,
a
right?
lot of extra panels to justify that. Like his foot stamps on the brake and he slumps on the wheel and the wheel goes all the way over and all of a sudden the whole bus tips over. Like you could do anything, but all she did or all Stelfreeze did was he shows the impact shot of the bullet to the driver and then the bus just tips, right?
Yeah.
And
But
pitches
you're
forward too.
following it and you just take it, you accept it, and you just keep going, and
Yeah.
then you can see that she's masturbating while the bus is tipping over her head.
So I wanted to comment on that. This is kind of infamous because the script at the time just said you can tell the character Lacey is getting off on killing. How do you guys interpret that?
I can
Well,
tell very well that she's getting off on killing.
yeah. So it was. I don't think it was meant to. Well, it definitely was not meant to be literal. It's just the script is there to convey some sort of emotion.
But it
So
is literal
Brian Stelfreeze,
on the page.
he
Subtlety is
felt
for
more.
cowards. Okay.
Yeah. Stelfreeze felt more freedom on this project, but like more freedom than he would get on like a regular Big Two project. So he wanted to push things a little. So Lacey getting off on killing, he he drew this.
Woof.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think it made this chapter made its mark probably because of this scene, and then I don't think they intended a spin-off series, but they ended up getting a spin-off series for Lacey, which
Gun candy.
yeah, and yeah, very suggestive.
sounds like Zack Snyder's next movie, Gun Candy.
Which Stelfreeze drew the interiors for. Just beautiful work and just ridiculous action. Like look at this sequence where like she's in a car with a bazooka.
Sailing through the air like it's a Fast and the Furious movie.
Yeah. Like yeah, many years before those Fast and the Furious movies started getting pretty ridiculous. But yeah, I mean it's this is infamous, and I would argue that it became so memorable that there was, I don't know, requests for spin-off. I don't know if there was requests, but they made a spin-off series for Lacey.
There must have been requests or I don't know, online demands on message boards or something. Because like, how would you even know, right? How would you even know that Candy here, Lacey got is what people want to see more of?
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe it could be that Brian Stelfreeze took a bit of ownership in this character that he co-created and wanted to draw her more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Man, the underside of a car, drawing under a car, just
It's a nightmare to draw.
yeah. And there's not a lot of reference out there, but just like
No.
so impressive.
Technical manuals maybe.
Yeah, and again, just like such impressive choreography.
Yeah, this 4-panel page here where they're shooting at each other, and this panel 2 and 3 alone just shows that like the instantaneous choreography is masterfully done here. They're shooting past each other and dodge, like the detective in panel 2, the way she's being shot at, and she makes this kind of like she's not just covering her face, but she's actually like startled, and she's like, oh shit, she makes this turn where it's like, oh, oh, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, right? But she narrowly misses her. Like
Yeah,
that's
just
what I got.
such great anatomy, such great understanding of anatomy and clothing and how clothing moves and adjusts to these awkward movements because these are not like easy panels or easy poses to draw, right?
That skirt ain't staying where it is the thing. Like it is,
when
it's
it's
still like
when it's in
pushing.
motion,
Yeah, like
you just paused at the right
still,
moment, right?
yeah, he's like pushing it in the exact way that like, all right, I'm not going to be arrested for drawing this either.
Yeah, I mean, like this is ridiculous. Like it's so funny. Like which where is that? Maybe it's at the back of yeah, right there.
Oh my
And then
god.
um,
one
that's
last note
just
I want to make is Lacey's knee sleeve.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
If you just follow it, no, like the reason why she has one doesn't matter really in this case, but it's just the fact that
an interesting
he's,
detail.
he's faithfully, yeah, exactly, the attention to detail that even like this hind shot where she's walking towards the upturned car, yeah, right there on the right page there, bottom left panel,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the posterior of the knee sleeve, it's crumpled in such a way that he's like, who pays attention to that shit? Stelfreeze does, right?
yeah, yeah. I was really into this comic when I was younger.
Oh no, yeah. I wonder why.
Because of the cool action. I was super into John Woo movies around that time too, so there's a crossover element.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's we got a write up here by Kevin Gardner, and then a preview of the next issue. And actually, we get a cool Jason Pearson sketch in the background of the big bad that he gets to draw in his. But here we get George Jeanty and Dexter Vines inking, and then Jason Pearson. So this is more the George Jeanty I know from the Buffy comics.
Yeah.
These faces, and he has a very unique way of showing that lighting that we were talking about. Which yeah, like this, like these unique shapes he throws in there, and
Mhm.
the feathering, very very signature of his work.
And blowing out a lot of lighting on a lot of edges on faces too.
Yeah, yeah, like this face here and that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, what? Yeah, another thing I love is these skies. Just like this strikes me as like him being in a studio with a whole bunch of legends and just like wanting to impress. And I think I remember listening to an old interview with Jason Pearson where he said that you were kind of like chasing the oohs and ahs from your fellow studio mates,
Sure.
like people were brutal. So if you got someone going like wow,
Well,
you know, you can
this
get
is
addicted to
before the
that, right?
time. This is before the time they released these collected editions of like Franklin Booth or Gustav Dore and those artists. He probably had just a couple of
Thinking the same
tabloids.
thing.
He could have had just a couple of tabloids or some magazines that featured Franklin Booth's art to draw from for this, because this is pure and unadulterated influence from Booth or even Dore.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Check out our Golden Age illustrators episodes to find out more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and this story takes place in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where the studio takes place. So I mean, it looks like he scattered out some real locations and made sure
Yeah,
the
that's,
like the buildings here are just so impressively done. The structures and it just looks like a real legit place,
yeah.
like a real park or real playground that he went to.
Yeah, the playground especially, that feels like a very specific kind of park. Like that is a municipal built park sort of design, right?
Yeah, and here we get the Guns Akimbo, which we keep
Yeah.
bringing up John Woo films, which that's a signature of John Woo.
Well, I remember seeing that happen naturally for the first time. I was like, I get it now. Okay, yeah. When you see it in context. It's awesome.
Oh, what do you mean? Like you knew about the parodies or the myth before you actually saw
Yeah.
them? Yeah.
Yeah, but when you see him in the movie itself, you're like, right on, right on.
Yeah, Chow Yun Fat flying in the air with two
Yeah.
pistols, just so cool. Is there anything cooler? So yeah, like some good action, and that's again that's the point of these comics. And it's also impressive how they're able to draw the same characters and keep them on model.
I'm also noticing that George Jeanty, he's a lot more willing to do close-ups. He's putting a lot more emotion into faces with
Yeah,
these close-ups, right? Like he gets real close in on eyes and how brows and the skin around eyes affects the look and the feel, the lighting around them.
Well, I mean, his layouts overall aren't so ambitious as like Stelfreeze with like full body shots and two characters interacting at the same time and things like that. And even perspective wise, like this is more he's more like in your face emotional.
Yeah.
and this just goes to what we were saying earlier about how personal layouts can be, and how if
Mhm.
you're given layouts that don't really fit your vision, it can feel wrong.
Yeah, you get asked to do something you're not very good at, and
Yeah.
like
Well, and
the
and it just comes down to like George Jeanty clearly likes to do these close-ups, and Brian Stelfreeze is less so,
yeah
and like that can affect the how you approach the art quite a bit
Mhm.
the
if
top
you're given.
panel there, the look on the older cop's face. It's not a close up, obviously, but that feels very genty to me. The kind of stripping away of details to convey the basics of the face. Like from a
Yeah,
distance, you can still get that. Nope, I'm dying. I'm out.
Yeah.
I am
He
one
did.
and a half feet out the door.
Yeah.
yeah, and then we get chapter 4, which Jason Pearson. So this is the comic that made me a huge Jason Pearson fan.
Yeah,
That's fine.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked his work prior to this, but this is when I think he leveled up. And I should say, so prior to this, he I think like maybe the same year or the year earlier, but just around this time, he did this Global Frequency comic. Now he inked this himself, and if you look at this, this looks like it was inked with a brush, which we talked a bit about this in the Jason Pearson styles episode that we did. But you see a transition period from him inking with a brush, and then right here he moves over to using markers. And
Oh, are we talking? When you say marker, do you mean like a fine liner?
yeah, just like a
Yeah.
deadline,
Yeah.
like like where you can get these just like just a dead line
Yeah.
on a lot of these, which you see all throughout this, like here, and you see you get artifacts of the line, which I see a lot of this in Olivier Coipel's work, where the marker, if you use it a little too fast or at an angle, it kind of like can peter out a bit. And
Yes, I've recently discovered through watching Danny Warren Johnson's YouTube channel. Shout out to a fellow YouTuber, Danny Warren Johnson.
is that all
That
he is? Is that all he
yeah,
is? A fellow YouTuber?
that's all he is. Yep.
No,
Is that I
a
think they
fellow artist.
also yeah. I think a lot of these guys
Budding
also
YouTuber.
keep dyeing markers for that, like keep dyeing
Yeah.
fine lines for that specific. Like, oh, it's a lot more interesting as you go.
Yeah, and it's the same. It's taking advantage of the tool in different ways. Like if you have a brush that has like stray strands, you can take advantage of the defects of that,
Yeah.
where you get an interesting texture, and so you can get interesting texture from the defects of all these different tools.
Yeah, the mark making is paying attention to the mark making is really interesting.
Though, despite all that, I'm very surprised at how well placed and like immaculate everything looks. Regardless, it looks very
Mhm.
spontaneous, but at the same time, nothing's out of place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. It's that healthy balance, right? where
Yeah.
he captures that chaos and that energy, but it still seems very controlled. Um, I like the reason I fell in love with this stuff is like I can't even really explain it. Just aesthetically, it is very appealing to me. When he shifted over to this, I just like stood up a little more and said like, oh, I'm going to pay attention to him just a little bit more. I
Mhm.
do recall listening to an interview with Jason Pearson several years ago where um, he talked about moving over to markers because he knew so many old time artists with wrist problems
Mm.
just from using brush or dip pens all their lives. And I tried to find that podcast interview that I listened to like several years ago. So this is just based on memory, but that interview has been scrubbed from the internet. So
How would
uh,
that even work?
it's the internet is not forever. Uh, and I guess there was an old interview and like it was on a website somewhere and that website went down. So
It's only forever in the worst ways. I'm still trying to get those pictures down.
yeah, I mean, I just want to say like if anyone knows what happened to that old interview, please drop a comment below because after Jason Pearson's passing, I think it's so important to keep this stuff publicly available just for the sake of history, because there isn't many interviews with him. And I mean, I don't even know if I fully trust my memory too. Like I remember listening to an interview where he talked about the transition from brush to marker, and I would like to hear it again. But at any rate, we do see that this is the point he transitions to markers, and going forward, his line, his very specific line style is based on the markers that he uses, and I'm all for it. I love it so much. So, Colin, you liked the previous the skinny ankle cartoony
Yeah,
Pearson
but
more.
for this, the ride 1 and 2, yeah, Brian Stelfreeze's segment was my favorite, but this segment here left an effect on me because
Oh, it's brutal.
specifically to the pages where you just turned to here. So if you look at the left page, they so she gets stabbed in the hand. Okay, now you could say that panel 5 is confusing, but it's not. He sticks the knife in and then kicks her. He kicks her that the knife is still in her hand, that she can pull it out and then get back at him on the right page. Right,
Mm.
panel
Yeah.
5 on the left page to panel 5 on the right page. It's like a kind of, what do you call it? Like a everything, like it comes together at the end. What's the word?
I was thinking symmetry, but I don't think that's what you're going for.
No. It's like closure or like something
Oh,
along
okay.
those lines, right? Like
Yeah.
she got stabbed and now she's stabbing him. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Yeah.
it's one of those things. And this, every panel on here is, it's not that it was clearly communicated, but it was communicated in this so-called real time where you were just like your eye goes as fast as he wants you to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is a brutal, brutal fight,
Yeah.
and a part of it is how he's able to capture that energy with the line work
Mhm.
that I love so much. Like this is crazy, right here.
Oh,
Holy shit.
the
Yeah.
lines for shading. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even the lines for lighting, where like as you get closer to the light here, some of the line work is disappearing because the light
Yeah, it
is
gets blown
affecting, and as
out.
you get
Yeah.
further away, it goes more into the darkness, and then you get these lines like yeah, I love it so much. Yeah, it just makes me want to draw comics. But I mean, yeah, this, as I said, like this short right here made me a Jason Pearson mega fan.
Yeah, I can see why. It's kind of, comics are not known for subtlety, and this sure isn't. Not that a comic can't be subtle, but this is really like, this is in your face. Fuck you very much, comics.
Yeah, just trying to be brutal, violent, as bloody, and you know, brutal as possible.
On the right page, the last 4 panels there, that bottom tier. That
Yeah,
bottom tier is like he must have thought about it for a long time. How do I do it? Do I do just four, 1, 2, 3, 4, like two in the top, two in the bottom, or should I just do it too long and then too short on the side? However, he figured it out perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I
Nice
love
long
the
shot of
motion
her
there.
taking a swig of the bottle, and then like a long shot of his face being like, "You fuck bitch" or whatever. I own this town. And then she looks at him. She stops for a second. She looks at him, and then the flip,
Yeah,
it works perfectly. Boom! As soon as you turn the page, boom!
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like,
Just the
come
use
on,
of motion.
masterclass, right?
And I love this little bit here where he's like reaching for her, and she's just so nonchalant, just so in control. And
Mm-hmm.
I have a confession to make. I stole this right here. I put in Eternal.
I mean, if you're gonna good artist borrow, great artist steal, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because this page is so cool.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. So that should be it for that. It is interesting. We get some very early Sanford Green, which does not look like the modern Sanford Green.
No,
Um,
that feels very.
No, it looks like early 20s Sanford Green. Like, he still has a ways to go, but not a long ways to go. He just have a little ways to go.
I mean, it's just a completely different style, right?
Yeah,
Looks
yeah.
very Gabriel Rodriguez from Lock and Key.
Yeah. Also, like
Oh,
Carlos,
yeah, I can see a little bit of that.
not Carlos D'Ando, Carlos Meglia, excuse me.
Yeah, just that kind of graffiti inspired
Yeah.
Yes.
cartoon.
Okay, so yeah, so here we have a preview of like another road comic or the ride, and I just wanted to also show off that like Jason Pearson did another ride comic. Oh, actually, and here's Sanford Green with that older style. Back when he must have been super young doing this, but again, we get brilliant black and white Jason Pearson art here. So maybe we'll cover that more in depth in a future
Yeah.
episode.
This is
'Cause,
more, this is, I wouldn't say black and white, but this is more contrasted than his work in The Ride Part 2.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I love it so much. But just as one more bonus comic, although I did kind of want to look at this Stelfreeze blank noir, but I don't know. We'll just quickly show off. He's just again just like an action book. This was just a backup, which I think over the 4 issues of The Heretic, he did this maximum velocity backup, which was supposed to lead into a maximum velocity comic that never came out. But then there's this Desperado Primer, which is another. It is another.
Is it a Brian Bolland cover?
That is, yeah, just so weird.
From a mile away. From a
But
mile away.
there, this is a weird sort of catalog book, but also a bunch of short stories. So, and a lot of these, it's a catalog for something that like probably didn't even come out. Some of like this,
Desperado Publishing.
like Round Eye for Love, they're showing there'll be 2 volumes hardcovers, and these never came out. So
Mhm.
this was like an imprint of Image in the mid 2000s. Yeah, just a catalog, but at the end here we have a Dusty Stars grade. Man, just Andrew Robinson, just so good. But here we have a short story with. Let's look at the credits here. A Mirror to the Soul. So written by Paul Jenkins, illustrated by Rob Pryor, Phil Hester, Kelsey Shannon, and then we get Brian Stelfreeze, Adam Hughes, Jason Pearson, and Cully Hamner. So I guess it starts off with a murder, and then a cat is wandering around this building, and it's just the cat goes floor to floor. So here we have like the Phil Hester stuff, and then the cat kind of moves to this floor, and we get like Kelsey Shannon doing just what's going on in that room, and then the cat moves down, and so here we have Brian Stelfreeze. Really good work from Brian Stelfreeze, and then the cat moves on down to Adam Hughes. Just again, beautiful Adam Hughes, and then here we have a Jason Pearson short with that's another thing that we didn't mention is that all the Gaijin Studios guys were horn dogs.
Yeah, just lovingly rendering dead ass.
Yeah. And like Adam Hughes, very well known for
I know Stelfreeze is an ass.
his love of the female form. Yeah, you know that about Stelfreeze, Colin?
Yeah, I know that about Stelfreeze.
Yeah, and then Cully Hamner. So
amongst us is not. I ask you this.
But if you had to choose,
yeah. So also, I think so. There's this Gen Active. It was an anthology book that Wildstorm did, and a lot of the Gaijin Studios guys did a lot of work for Wildstorm, I think. And every now and then you would get a Gaijin Studios guy doing a Gen Active short, and this Brian Stelfreeze story is pretty good too. You get him showing off his anatomy skills here.
Yeah,
something he's very good at.
These guys were expensive too, even for just a one-off or like a 2-issue story or whatever the case may be. It's like that was an expensive book to put together for the editors.
I don't know. I can't speak to how much. Actually, I had one interaction with Jason Pearson. I met him at a convention. Just went up to his table and talked to him, and I do remember him. He was promoting the Deadpool 4 issues he did, and he made a comment. He said, "Yeah, Marvel finally is willing to pay me my rate." So you may be right, Colin. Like they charged a little more, and sometimes people weren't willing to pay so much. But like at that point, like Marvel was willing to pay him his very specific rate. So yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think the Gaijin Studios guys actually did a lot of work for Wildstorm. So yeah, I mean, if you find some old Wildstorm comics like lying around, you can find a lot of great art from those guys. Which I think that's part of the reason why I was such a Wildstorm kid was the art was always great.
Always,
yeah.
Oh, it can't lose comics. It's money well spent, especially that Wildstorm annual. To the audience, I'm just telling you right now, you can still find that in back issue bins for like $4 or $5. Go out and get it. Go out and get it, especially if you want to get into comics, if you want to draw comics. That's the one to study for 100% for sure.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff. Like if you can find Matador, if you can find some Global Frequency comics.
Domino. Marvel's Domino.
Yeah, that Domino series is great.
We're going to do Domino in a future episode for sure.
Yeah, so we're all artists. So what has everybody been up to?
All right, so for this episode, I haven't inked it yet, but I did a Zealot in honor of Stelfreeze's Zealot. And so obviously you're seeing it now as the inked version with some red highlights, but I did give her so it's her standing in a mountain of dead Damonites, and one of the Damonites scratched her in the face, and she's got one eye completely closed. And I haven't inked it yet, so I don't know how horrific it looks until the audience can see it right now. So I don't know if I if I took that back and kept the eye open or closed, but yeah, there it is on screen right there.
Cool.
And I've got several things because so first of all, my episode watercolors going with the 90s version of NAMOR.
Yeah, with his ponytail.
Yep.
Very cool.
I focused on making sure that the bulge was lit correctly, because you know what?
It's lit correctly. It's just not low enough, bro.
He needs the support. It's because you never see. There is a tendency to like flatten out.
Yeah, that's true.
Like male forms. But in addition, so on the advice of Eric, I have he's kindly printed out digital pencils that I am now inking physically, and I'm not going to say it's going well, but I am learning a lot. So page,
Oh wow!
yeah, here's page.
So, I mean,
3
that took quite a bit of convincing. Like I remember I was pushing you,
did, yeah.
and you were like, "No, I'm comfortable with digital." So, what was the thing that pushed you over the edge?
One Johnson.
It's that, and you talking about the like the unlocking, right? Because you're right. I said I'm comfortable, but that's not how art works, right? You're not making your best stuff. Like, am I going to go back to digital? Yes.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from just doing this bullshit. Like all of this noodly stuff. I destroyed this pen. Like, it doesn't work anymore just to get the
It doesn't work anymore?
No, I broke it. Not from use, but from because it's a Pentel brush pen. You're only supposed to give it one squeeze and then just let gravity take over.
Yeah.
I squeezed it too much and I fucked up its mechanism. So that's $14 gone. But it's still good. But like now I do have this thing that is giving me clouds dissipating, right? And knowing that, well, it's a busted tool, but it still works. It still gives you something. I don't know. That feels like something that is very useful to take into digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about opening pathways in your brain, and like all this, like being good at traditional makes your digital better, and being good at digital makes the traditional better. So
Luke Smith's wedding day was all digital, right?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
But there's stuff in there now that I'm like, ooh, I wish I had taken just what I've learned in the last few days of inking physically.
Oh, nice.
And put into Luke Zenith's wedding day. So,
I mean, it's very cool to hear that you're having fun playing around and learning and getting out of your comfort zone, because it's also very frustrating, I'd imagine, too, right?
It sure is. Like, look at this thing. This is a 1.5 cm chisel tip. The mark, it is not a consistent mark, but the mark making, it, if I find a place to use it correctly, it looks great. I just have to choose correctly.
Oh, very cool. So yeah, that's good to hear. I guess if you have that page done, we can flash it on the screen here. But yeah, I don't know. You're just working on what is this short story you're working on?
Oh, it's just it's for an anthology that's coming up. I'm working with writer Edward Kane on this 8-page. It's just 2 robots fighting. That's it.
Very cool. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It is, yeah.
It's best stories, dude.
Yeah, I am shit at mechs, so I really wanted to push myself of like, you know what, just get comfortable with being bad at technical stuff.
Are you using any 3D programs for it?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
What?
Nope.
Sketchfab, you can pose out like a Gundam, or whatever.
I don't know if you can pose out a Gundam on there, can you?
There's some free models out there, like an Optimus
there's a lot of stuff you can like.
I mean, do you know any like 3D software, Taylor?
No, and I'm not going to learn it for this. I'm going to just brute force my way through these 8 pages. And
all the cool kids.
To fellow YouTuber, a shout out to fellow YouTuber Danny Warren Johnson for for the inspiration through his Transformers run.
Also, I would actually, Taylor, while we're on it, Brian Hitch's Fantastic Four run with Mark Miller.
Oh yeah. I definitely took a look at that and the giant robots that showed up in Green Lantern, or no, Hawkman. That's what it's his Hawkman run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm going back in with like I got to put a lot more detail on stuff.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.